That is the same road, the same route, the same walk, 8 days apart. For most of this series, everything we proved was proven on the first one. A green wedge in an empty void. The combat worked there. The monsters hunted there. A character died there, came back, and remembered who it was. All of it real, all of it tested, and all of it happening somewhere nobody would ever want to stand. This is the episode where that changed. No new systems tonight, and no new promises. Just the ground under everything we have already shown you, and what it took to make it a place. It is worth being precise about what that green plane was, because it was not laziness, and it was not a mock-up. Every rule you have watched us prove was live on it. The ground had real collision. The server decided where you could stand, and refused to let you stand anywhere else. Monsters had real senses on it. The clock ran on it. What was missing was only the part you look at. We built it in that order deliberately. There is no point painting a world before you know the world holds. And a pretty surface over broken rules is the oldest trick in this genre. But there is a cost to that order, and we paid it in front of you. For 8 episodes, this show's evidence looked like a physics demo, because that is exactly what it was. The land is not drawn by hand. Its shape comes out of simulated weather. Virtual rain run over raw terrain until the valleys drain the way real valleys do, and the ridges cut where real ridges cut. Then the cover goes on by rule rather than by hand, where grass belongs, where scrub belongs, where the trees thicken as meadow turns to woodland. You are watching that boundary right now, and nobody placed a single one of those trees individually. There is a reason to grow land rather than sculpt it, and it is not speed. A hand-sculpted valley is a guess about where water would have gone. A simulated one is the answer. Run rain over a noise field for long enough, and the valleys end up where valleys end up. The ridges sharpen where ridges sharpen, and the whole thing reads as a place that happened rather than a place that was decided. Players cannot articulate that difference, and they can feel it immediately, the uncanny flatness of terrain that was drawn by someone in a hurry. The scatter follows the same principle one level up. Where the trees thicken is not a decision anybody made tree by tree. It is what the ground says about itself, its height, its wetness, how steep it runs. Change the rule and the whole forest moves. Change the seed and you get a different country with the same laws. One rule underneath all of it matters more than the look. The picture of every tree and the solidity of every tree come from the same record. There is no version of this world where something is visible but you walk through it, or invisible but it stops you. That sounds like a technicality until you have played a game where it isn't true, and you have. The look is not paint applied to objects. It is a layer the whole world passes through. A tune shade, an inked outline, a warm sky with distance fog, and a baked ambient darkening that sits things into the ground instead of leaving them hovering above it. 4 levers, 1 configuration, applied to everything. The least glamorous of those 4 is the one that does the work. Baked ambient shadow is the soft darkening where surfaces meet, under a rock, in the angle where a wall meets the ground, beneath the eaves of a building. Without it, everything in a scene looks like a sticker, correctly positioned, obviously separate. With it, objects sit in the world instead of on top of it. It is the single cheapest thing you can do to stop a game reading as a collection of models. That layering is the reason it was built this way. A world gains things constantly. A monster arrives, a crate drops, a player logs in. If the look lives on each object, every new thing has to be dressed by hand, and the ones you forget stand out like a missing tooth. If the look is a layer, anything that walks into the world is already wearing it, and the light moves on its own. The sun runs on the server's clock, not yours. So 2 people standing in the same field are standing under the same sky. Then, the part most worlds quietly stop at. Plenty of games have caves you can walk into. What most of them also have is a second door, the one where the screen goes black and you load a private copy of the room, which exists nowhere, and which nobody else can walk into behind you. There is one of these. Walk down that ramp behind someone, and you are standing in the room they are standing in. The way that works is worth a sentence, because it is not magic. The cave is not a separate scene. It is a second layer of the same world, sitting underneath the first at the same coordinates. Crossing between them is a strip you walk over, one way going down, another coming up, with a genuine gap between them so nothing can end up half in each. What the server changes when you cross is one thing: which layer's ground it measures your feet against. The receipt is almost disappointingly small. The step that carried a character from the surface into the underworld measured the same length as the step before it, and the same as the step after. No black screen, no seam. The world simply started keeping that character's ground on the cave's floor instead of the hillsides. Everything after that is walked, one ramp at a time. And then this, which is 9 days newer than everything else you have seen tonight. A town, not a marker on a map and not a placeholder. Timber over stone, stalls with their awnings up, a well, benches, lamps, and shadows falling where the sun says they should. Worth saying plainly how this differs from the ground it sits on. The land is grown by rule, the settlement is not. Terrain can be generated because terrain is geology, and geology follows rules. A town is a decision, where the roads meet, where the market wants to be. Which building faces the green? Those get placed by hand, deliberately, one at a time. And there is a rule under that too, which we only found by drawing the thing wrong first. A town is a ring facing an open middle, not a grid. Not a scatter of houses along a road, a shape that turns inward, with somewhere in the center for people to be. Every real settlement you can picture does this, and none of the early attempts here did, which is why they read as a collection of buildings rather than a place anybody lived. The fast part of this work is the land. The slow part is everywhere people actually stand. One honest note to finish on, because it explains the last 8 episodes. Everything this series has proven, it proved on that green plane, and we showed you the proof rather than waiting for the place. That was the right order. A beautiful world with broken rules underneath is precisely the thing we are trying not to build. But it meant 8 episodes of asking you to look past what was on the screen. You do not have to anymore. The rules did not change tonight, the ground did. And it is worth naming what that order actually bought, because it is the whole argument of this series in one line. Every promise we have made was tested against a world that could not flatter it. Nothing passed because the lighting was kind or the angle was good. There was no lighting and there was no good angle. When the fairness rule held, it held on a green rectangle. When the monsters hunted you, they hunted you across nothing. That is a harder place to pass a test, and it is the only place a test means anything. What you are looking at now is the same set of rules, wearing clothes. So that is the ground. Grown from simulated weather, dressed by one layer that everything new arrives already wearing, solid in exactly the shape you can see, with a real underneath you reach by walking. And a town on it that somebody sat down and placed, building by building. Next time we go back to the systems, but from here on, when we show you one, we can show it to you somewhere worth standing.